Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to.
Nerdrotic.com.
It looks like No Time to No Time to Die is back in the news again, and just like with other films, it looks like another adult pretender wants to destroy my interest in the film before it even comes out. If it comes out, which is the bigger news, actually, but we're going to talk about both of them. Remember when director Tim Miller popped off and alienated a large portion of his audience, destroying the opening weekend for Terminator Derp Fate? Now, that film would have flopped anyway, but it probably would have had a better weekend if he hadn't have said anything. And the same goes for Sir Patrick Stewart prior to Star Trek Picard popping off and alienating a large portion of the British public and the American public. And of course, we have Charlie's Angels and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, James Bond, No Time to Die was made in 2019. I was initially very excited about this film because Cary Fukunaga is the director, and I think this guy is brilliant. But it looks like the genius MGM marketing department through Lashana Lynch is determined to destroy interest in this film before it even comes out. James Bond franchise kills itself. Lashana Lynch's character will inherit the 007 title. And that's not particularly what I take issue with. It's what comes with it. What this does confirm is we're going to get stay in your lane, time's up, me too, James Bond. Harper's Bazaar published an interview with Lynch with the headline that reads, Lashana Lynch on Making History as the first black female 007. Yearsla Daily Ward, who wrote the article, also stated today on a still Saturday morning in August, Lynch is doing precisely that, chatting to me warmly and directly about her latest and surely career-defining role in No Time to Die, the Bond franchise's 25th release, in which she stars as Naomi, the secret agent who inherits the 007 title while Bond himself is in exile. Now, I've covered James Bond quite a bit on live streams and in videos on this channel, and there's been a lot of trouble surrounding this film, and it's not just adult pretenders popping off. See, it might not be that groundbreaking for Lashana Lynch if her film can't be released in theaters, and the only thing this film might end up breaking is the blockbuster and MGM Studios. We'll talk about that later. Later in the article, Daily Ward would add, we saw this in her nuanced, solid performance as the single mother and pilot Maria Rambeau in last year's Captain Marvel. Nuanced.
No, man. Shit, no, man.
In which she successfully stretched the bounds of what a hero is meant to be, and we will see it again in her outing as the first ever female 007. There's a little show I cover on this channel called Doctor Who. It used to be pretty big in the UK and here in the States, and it's not anymore because they did a full gender swap of their main character, and that's all they did. That's why I refer to the actress playing the Doctor as the first female Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, because that's how the media refers to her. And the same thing is going to happen to Lashana Lynch, so much so that she's going to probably get sick of it. When we eventually get this character's name, it won't matter because it will forever be prefaced by the first black female 007 played by Lashana Lynch. While the article doesn't offer any quotes from Lynch confirming that she will be 007, there is one that heavily implies she will be the first black female 007 played by Lashana Lynch. Lynch stated, I am one black woman. If it were another black woman cast in the role, it would have been the same conversation. She would have gotten the same attacks, the same abuse. Of course, it's never okay to personally attack any of these actors on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere else, and I do not partake in that. And I don't have an issue with Lashana Lynch as a person. I do not have an issue with her being in this film. I don't even have an issue with her inheriting the 007 title, considering a rumor I heard, which I will not spoil here. I just have to remind myself that the conversation is happening and that I'm part of something that will be very, very revolutionary, Lynch added. This is what I have an issue with, and again, it's not with Lashana Lynch herself, who within this interview is still playing a role, speaking her lines. This isn't even revolutionary within this franchise. They've gender swapped M, race swapped Moneypenny, and it worked because the story came first. But these are the warning signs, the first steps taken towards a first female James Bond. And How many times have we seen it before? How did it work out for Doctor Who? Not only did Harper's Bazaar claim Lynch is playing 007, but they also claim that a role in the film is to confront stereotypes around race and gender that have persisted for far too long. That's what's been missing from a Bond film. I can't wait to take Nerdrotic Jr. and go, hey boy, let's go watch James Bond stay in his lane and confront racial and gender stereotypes. Lynch stated, I feel very grateful that I get to challenge those narratives in a James Bond film that you are not starring in. We're moving away from toxic masculinity, and that's happening because women are being open, demanding, and vocal and calling out misbehavior as soon as we see it. She added, sure, that's great in real life, but we were talking about a James Bond film, right? Lynch went on to state that, here it comes, she plans to use her platform as a celebrity for change. She stated, we're not stick figures. No, you are a professional adult pretender who reads, memorizes, and or interprets other people's lines well. Now we're in a time when artists have enough collective energy to evoke change. There's real work to be done. There are frank conversations to be had. A magazine cover is already pretty. The words don't have to be. The No Time to Die actor said. That didn't sound prepared at all. Well delivered. Do you want to do something revolutionary? Do you want to enact change? How about you just make a fun film? Something we can all come together and enjoy and forget about the world for a couple of hours. How about provide some escapism? That would be different. In fact, Lynch says she's already speaking up on set. Well, I wonder how well that's going to work out for her career. She explained, as I have come more into myself, I have found ways to remain respectful of others, but still be true to myself. Lynch would go on to say her main job is her culture's fight, which must be going pretty well for her because she's co-starring in a James Bond film and she's worth $14 million. Good on you. But here's the bigger problem. Despite what she says, which is just overblown crap to the access media, James Bond No Time to Die was up for sale recently to streaming services for $600 million. And these streaming services said no, devaluing the Hollywood blockbuster overnight. This didn't get talked about a whole lot, but we all know there aren't going to be enough movie theaters to put this film in for it to make the $600 million that was projected for this film, meaning it's not worth that anymore. It cost $250 million to make without marketing, and it doesn't look like they're going to get that money back. James Bond film No Time to Die explored $600 million sale to streaming services. Apple, Netflix, and other streaming services explored the possibility of acquiring No Time to Die, the upcoming James Bond movie that was originally slated to debut last April. The film's release has been postponed multiple times, with the Daniel Craig vehicle moving back to November before being pushed into 2021 as the number of COOF cases kept growing. As you know, the UK and Europe have locked down again, and that possibility is always open for California. MGM, the studio behind the film, reportedly lost $30 million to $50 million due to the delays. Insiders said. Bloomberg first reported the discussions, which have been the topic du jour in Hollywood this week. Other studios, such as Paramount and Sony, have raked in tens of millions by selling movies like Greyhound, Coming to America 2, and Without Remorse to streaming services, while the exhibition sector continues to struggle during the COOF. We do not comment on rumors. The film is not for sale. The film's release has been postponed until April 2021 in order to preserve the theatrical experience for moviegoers. An MGM spokesperson lied to Variety. However, multiple insiders at rival studios and companies said that a possible Bond sale was explored overtly and believed that MGM was at least open to the possibility of unloading their crown jewel for a princely sum. The studio said they have been looking for a deal of roughly $600 million, a price tag that was deemed too rich for two of the free spending streaming services. So they were laughed off. Karma's a bitch, because a couple of weeks before, two heads of two movie studios were asked directly if they were interested in bailing out or buying movie theaters. Warner Brothers and Universal bosses said no movie theater buyouts in the works, but we're rooting for them. Donna Langley, chairman of Universal Filmed Entertainment Group, and Ann Sarnoff, chair and CEO of Warner Brothers, had the same reaction Thursday when asked if their companies had any interest in buying movie theaters. They laughed. Now, I'm no economics professor, but I can see that if there isn't enough movie theaters to release your film in and you can't release it and nobody's willing to buy it for what you projected it was worth, it's no longer worth that much. There goes the Hollywood blockbuster. You hear that popping noise? That was the bubble bursting. You know what also devalues your movie? Ghostbusters 2016 marketing. Now, hopefully this film is great, but if it isn't and it turns out to be intersectional feminist James Bond, it's not like they didn't warn us over and over again. This film should be called James Bond No Time to Fail, because if it does, it might break MGM. And if that happens, look for James Bond to be sold. And the most frustrating thing is this franchise could work if they just made a James Bond movie, but Hollywood is unwilling to do it.
Nerdrotic.com.
If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I'll see you in the next video.